Hey there, it's me, Grace. Today we're going to be doing a holly cloth for Christmas, and of course, here I am with my squeaky chair. So please forgive the squeaky chair, and please forgive the dryer noises. Of course, for this project, you're going to need the same three that we just used on the previous cloth, and that is red, white, and green. And of course, my green is a variegated green. It's not solid because I couldn't find that the shade that I wanted, so I went with this one because it had more evergreenish kind of colors, which was the color I couldn't find. And I didn't want a bright grass green or a lime green, and that seemed to be all that I could find. So this is what I went with. If you want this exact color, it's Lily Sugar and Cream Renegade, and I've been saying that since the beginning. So if you've been following all the dishcloths that I've been doing, just tune me out when I tell you all about this yarn. So this is for the newbies, the people who are just coming into my videos, and you happen to see this green and you're like, what's that? And so I tell you, it's Lily Sugar and Cream Renegade. And the red I'm using is Poppy Red, and this is not Lily Sugar and Cream. The only red I could find was Bernat Handicrafter. This is Cotton Deluxe yarn. So if you're looking for this particular red, it is Poppy Red. And like I said, it's the only red I could find. I think they had Coral or something was the closest I could find, and then I saw this and I was like, oh, gotta get it, even though it was Bernat. I've never used Bernat before this, but I like it a lot. And really the feel isn't any different. It feels basically the same as the Lily Sugar and Creams. Really, they work well together. So let's get started. For this project, you're going to need you'll need a second crochet hook. And so on this project, I'm using both an I and a G hook. If you don't have an I, just use something that's close, and like an H or J. K would even work, but then the weave's going to be looser and you'll end up with a bigger cloth, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a dishcloth, right? So this is a G hook, and I'm not even sure. Yeah, it says, but you can not read it very well. It's kind of etched into the side. I guess it used to be white, maybe? It looks like it used to be white, but it's all rubbed off. This was my mom's hook from years and years ago, probably from before I was born. So anyhow, I inherited that from her. I think this also was hers. You can see it has been very used, so I think this also was hers. One of my eye hooks was hers, and I think it was this one. And then I have another one I think that I bought, and it's a slightly different color. It's blue. So anyhow, that's a little history on that for you. I'm sure you wanted to know. These are the holly berries that we're going to make. We need 3 of them. So last night, while I was up late uploading my Better Late Than Never video, I got behind. We were really busy as a family and as individuals. It seemed like this past week was really busy, and this week is, I think, busier than last week, but somehow I feel like I have more time this week. I don't know how that works, but anyhow, it's working so far, so I'm rolling with it. So I stayed up late last night uploading that video and finishing all my edits and getting that uploaded and stuff. So I went ahead while I was waiting and I made these 2 holly berries, and I'll show you how I did that. So let's go ahead and knock that out first, because those are going to be appliqued on later after we finish the cloth. But let's go ahead and do those. So I'm going to start with a magic ring or magic loop or whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. It's just a loose slip knot. So let's go ahead and do that. Excuse me. So if you make a regular slip knot and you start with it that way, you don't do it necessarily the way I do, that's fine. Just don't tighten it up. Just don't, do this number. Just leave it loose. Excuse me. Oh. What's going on? I've got some stuff in my throat. So I'm going to chain 1 to secure that, and work 10 single crochets into this loop, into this ring. with my G-hook. Two more. 9, 10. Now go ahead and pull the tail. I'm going to close that up. And then into this first single crochet, we're going to just slip stitch there. Just pull it through and through. Pull that as tight as you can. There are two ways to do this. And if you've seen my other videos, you'll know what I'm talking about, but you can either leave a long tail on here to stitch this onto the cloth later, or you can do as normal, clip the tail, weave in all the ends, and then just set them aside, set it aside like these that I've already done, which is what I did with these. I didn't leave a tail, so later on I would have to obviously take a length of red and tack it onto the cloth. But you can, it doesn't really matter how you do it. So if you'd prefer to do it this way, just take a long tail and clip it. And you probably need more than you think, so probably a good couple of feet. And take this, we're not going to chain one and pull it through, just pull it through. Okay, and we will need to sew in this end, so you can take a minute excuse me, you can take a minute and do that, and I'll do the same. I'm going to call that good enough. Okay, and then with this end, let's go ahead and thread up that yarn needle. Alright, and what I like to do is take this and of course go across it this way, because if you go back this way it's going to leave a little lump here. So go across it this way into the very next stitch, like so. Pull that through and then go back into the previous stitch like that. So it makes it look like a little stitch there. I like that, especially on the round things. So then if you want to, you can just take this back one, because we're going to use it to tack on the berry to the cloth later. So then just set this aside. You can leave the needle in it if you want to or not. That's up to you. It depends if you have more than one needle to use to sew in the ends, because obviously we're going to be making the cloth now and we're going to need to sew in some ends. Alright, so we're going to start with white, but have your green handy because we're going to be using it before too long. So we're going to start, of course, with a slip knot. And we need the eye hook now. You can use the G hook, you'll just have to increase your foundation chain, but that's up to you. I'm going to stick with the eye hook because that's kind of what I like for the dishcloths. I don't really like to go bigger, and I don't really like to go smaller. The eye hook is just kind of middle of the road, and I really like it, so that's what I kind of stick with. So I'm going to chain 21. So let's work into the second chain from the hook. just a single crochet, excuse me, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch across for a total of 20. And I have to say, I'm kind of excited about this series that I've been doing because it keeps me more active. It makes me focus and do things that I haven't done before. Like, I really haven't ever charted on a grid pad before for crochet, and so it's something new and exciting, and it's kind of neat to see what you put on paper take shape in your hands. It's just really neat. It's a very good feeling. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a neat project, and I feel like I should be doing something for Thanksgiving. I really haven't done anything. I did that one pumpkin video, the little crocheted pumpkins. If you want to see that, you can find it on my channel, and that was a lot of fun, but that was the only thing I did for fall. And so I don't like to skip over Thanksgiving, so if you keep checking back, I will probably have some kind of Thanksgiving video. But I'm not going to promise anything because, like I said, seems like we've been really slammed lately with just activities and stuff. Okay, so this is the end of the first row. We're going to make 3 more rows exactly like this one. So just 3 more rows of single crochet in the white. I'll leave you to do yours, and I'll do mine, and then I'll show you the next step. So now we're on row 5, and so you should have 4 complete rows of just white. And so what we're going to do is, like in the previous cloth, we're going to add on a color on this row. So you're going to need your green ready. For this cloth, obviously the only red is going to be the berries, and so if you've already done those, just set those aside, and the only extra color you're going to need is greens. The whole field is white, and then the holly leaves are green. So you really, this should be pretty simple. You should not have to attach more than once with the green. And so you're just going to carry. We're just going to carry our colors, the white and the green, when we're not working with the particular color. We'll carry it. And so we're going to start by chaining 1, and we're going to work 13 single crochets. This is 13, and in the 14th one we're going to pull up a loop. Let's get ready to join on the green, so just kind of feed out some of your yarn and attach that green and pull it through. Now if you want to, you can make a slip knot first, but I never do. I figure weaving in the ends later will take care of it. So now we're going to carry the white, so that means we're going to have to work across that as we've done in previous cloths, but if you haven't done the other cloths, then you just kind of follow along, and you're just going to work across this yarn. So we're going to start by working 2 single crochets, and we're going to catch that yarn between the stitches. So when you go through, this yarn that we're carrying is on top. Okay, and in the third one, we're going to pull up a loop, but still working across this white. Drop the green, and pick up the white, and complete that stitch. Now we don't need to carry the green right now, that'll be later. And so we're going to finish the cloth to the end. 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Okay, let's turn. This is row number 6. So let's go ahead and chain 1. We're going to work 2 single crochets, and then in the third one pull up a loop. And if you see all these little fuzzy spots, this is where either the manufacturer or I have joined on yarn. So pick up that green and complete the stitch. We're going to work across the white. So pick that up so you can remember to sandwich that between. And we're going to work, this time, we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the 5th one, pull up a loop. Drop your green, pick up the white and complete that stitch. And now we're going to do 12 single crochets to the end. Alright, turn your work. Chain 1. We're going to work 11 single crochets, and let's pull up a loop in the 12th. Take that green and complete the stitch. We're going to work 4 single crochets of the green. Remember to carry the white because we're going to need it again on the other side. One, 2, 3, 4, and then pull up a loop in the 5th one. Drop the green and pick up the white and complete that stitch. And now just work 3 single crochets of white to the end. On the next row, we're going to work 4 single crochets of white, or 3 single crochets and then pull up a loop. So 3 total single crochets. And if your yarn's getting tangled like mine is, you can just take a minute, pause the video, take a minute, and just kind of unwind your yarn. Alright, so 3 single crochets of white, and then pull up a loop in the 4th one. Pick up the green and complete that stitch. We're going to work 5 single crochets across the white. 1, 2, oops. 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the 6th one, pull up a loop, complete that stitch with white, and work 10 single crochets to the end. Okay, turn your work. For this row, this is should be row number 9. Let's go ahead and chain 1. We're going to start with 9 single crochets of white, and in the 10th one we're going to pull up a loop. Okay, now join on the green. We're going to do 3 single crochets of green and pull up a loop in the 4th one. Drop the green, pick up the white, and work 6 single crochets to the end. Okay, turn your work. This one is going to be pretty much a mirror image of the row we just did. So what we're going to do then is begin with a chain 1, and I almost said with a slip knot, but that wouldn't be right. And we're going to work 5 single crochets and pull up a loop in the 6th one. Okay, not join on, but complete that stitch with green. And then we're going to work 3 single crochets of green and pull up a loop in the 4th one. Drop the green, pick up the white, and then complete that with 10 single crochets of white. For this row, we're on row number 11, so if you're counting your rows, this is row 11. Go ahead and chain 1. We're going to work 6 single crochets and pull up a loop in number 7. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to join the green on right here. And I know that it's going to make this little line, but that's okay. If you leave it not real loose, but a little bit, give it a little bit of slack right in here and don't pull it so tight, or if you pull it tight, that's okay. We can still work it in. If you watched the previous cloth, the Christmas gift one, we did that with the red part and then worked it in, so you couldn't tell that we carried it that far. If you want to do that, it works out just fine. If you'll trust me and work along with me, we'll make it work out. But if you are timid about that at all, you can go ahead and clip a tail and weave that in, no big deal, and then just rejoin your green here. Either way, it'll work fine. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and join the green on. I just won't pull it. See, I don't want to pull it tight like that because then it will make a pucker here. So make sure that you have enough slack that it'll lie flat. I was going to say sit flat, but that wouldn't really be right. A cloth doesn't really sit. A cloth lays there. So, okay, now we're going to work 5 single crochets of green and pull up a loop in the 6th one, but we're working across, we're carrying the white, and we're also working around this one to hide it. So when you go in, just make sure that this is on top, and go ahead and pull that loop through. And when you make your stitches, it just looks like you carry it. It doesn't, it'll just blend in. It'll be like you carried it. So it really works out in the end. So this is 3, 4, 5, and then in the 6th one we're just pulling up a loop. Okay, complete that stitch now with white, and then it'll be 7 single crochets of white to the end. Next row, row number 12. It's going to be like this one. So there's going to be 7 whites on this side, 7 whites on this side, and then in the middle we'll have the 6 green. So we're going to work, of course we're going to chain 1, and work 6 single crochets of white and pull up a loop in the 7th one. So here we are. Alright. Join. Complete that stitch with the green, and we're going to work 5 single crochets of green, of course carry that white, and in the 6th one pull up a loop. Okay, drop the green and pick up the white, and complete the cloth to the end with 7 single crochets. So I'm getting a little tangled again. I'm going to have to stop and work that out. Okay, the next row that we're on is number 13, and for this row we're going to chain 1 and work 4 single crochets of white, and then pull up a loop in the 5th one. Take that green and travel it on up there. Remember to not pull it too tightly or you're going to have a little pucker right here, so just kind of leave a little bit of slack in there that we can work that in later. Alright, and naturally we're going to work over the work across the white and carry it. Excuse me. And we're going to work 4 single crochets of green, pull up a loop in the 5th one, complete that stitch with white. Okay, and now we're going to take one, well, not one, we're going to pull up a loop. I was going to take one stitch, but that's not right. Pull up a loop, complete that stitch with green. So we're just going to have a little tiny bit of white in the middle here. Working across the white again, we're going to take 3 single crochets, and pull up a loop in the 4th one. Complete that with white as soon as I get it out here. Alright, and then carry that on to the end with 5 single crochets. Okay, turn your work. This one is going to be a mirror image of the last one. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work 4 single crochets and pull up a loop in the 5th one. Complete that stitch with green. Working across the white, we're going to make 3 single crochets of green and pull up a loop in the 4th one. 2, oops, 3, and then in the 4th one pull up a loop, drop the green, pick up the white, and complete that stitch. Pull up a loop right here again and complete it with green. Now work across the white and make 4 single crochets of green. 2, 3, and 4, and then in the 5th one pull up a loop, complete that stitch with the white, and then with white we're going to complete 5 stitches to the end, 5 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5. For the next row, this is row 15, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work only 2 single crochets this time and pull up a loop in the 3rd one. Okay, complete that stitch with the green as we did before. And now we're going to work 4 single crochets. Remember to carry the white, which I just forgot. Pull that on up there. So 4 single crochets of green, and then in the 5th one pull up a loop. 2, 3, 4, and then of course you're pulling up a loop now. Complete that stitch with white, carry the green, and you're going to make 3 single crochets with white, pull up a loop in the 4th one, complete that stitch with green, carry the white, and we're going to make 4 single crochets of green, and pull up a loop in the 5th one. Complete that stitch with white, and then go to the end of the cloth with 3 single crochets of white. Turn your work, chain 1, and I see that I have a low battery signal flashing on my camera, so I might have to take a short break a little bit later, but hopefully we'll get this done and I won't have to. So we're going to do work 1, 2, and then in the 3rd one pull up a loop, complete that stitch with green as before, work 4 single crochets of green carrying the white, and then pull up a loop in the 5th one. Okay, complete that stitch now with the white, and you're going to work just like we did last time, the 3 single crochets of white and carry the green. And in the 4th stitch we're going to just pull up a loop. Okay, pick up the green and complete that stitch, and now we're going to work across the white. Carry that again, work 4 single crochets and pull up a loop in the 5th one. Complete that stitch with white and go to the end of the cloth with 3 single crochets. Voila! We have 4 more rows to go, and we only have 2 more rows where we're using green, and then the final 2 rows will just be white. And what I see happening with my cloth, as usually happens to my work, is that my tension, you might not be able to see it, let me zoom out a little bit. My tension is tightening up. And one reason is that I'm feeling pressure from this battery signal that keeps flashing at me, telling me that it's dying. And the other reason is I'm nearing the end of the project, and for some reason I always think towards the end I'm supposed to hurry up and get finished when I need to just relax. So if you're having that same problem and you see your tension getting tighter and tighter, go ahead and just relax a minute. Just take a break from the project, pause the video, whatever you need to do, relax your hands, relax your back, relax your neck, and then come back to it a little bit later when you feel a little more relaxed, and I think that that'll help your tension a lot. That does help my tension. But I don't know why I do that. I really don't. I guess I just kind of get in that mode of, oh, I have to get finished and I have to do it right now. So if you feel that pressure, go ahead and take a break, because it's not worth being stressed over. This is supposed to be a fun project for you and for me. So if we're feeling stressed over it, we need a break. Six. And 7. And then in the 8th one, pull up a loop, complete that with green, and we're working 3 single crochets across the white. 1, 2, 3, and then in the 4th one, just pull up a loop. It's not cooperating. It's really not cooperating. Okay, so now drop the green and complete that stitch with white, and it's going to be only 2 single crochets now to the end. Okay, the next row is going to be the final row that we're using green, and then the last 2 rows are just going to be white. It's just be 20 single crochets of white for 2 rows after this one. So let's chain 1, and we're going to work 1 single crochet and then pull up a loop in the second one, complete that stitch with green, work 3 single crochets of the green. Don't forget to carry that white. I have to keep reminding myself, or else I'll sometimes drop it and then have to go back later and fix it. Alright, drop the green, and at this point we're done with it, so we can go ahead and clip a tail and complete that stitch with white, and then just carry on to the end for a total of 14 single crochets with white. For the last 2 rows, we're just going to work single crochet only in white, and when we're finished with that, I will show you how to put the berries on, and then it's optional for you to add a border. But let's go ahead and finish these last 2 rows, and then I'll see you again. Okay, so I have finished my cloth, and I'm sure you've probably completed yours. So now we need to add on the holly berries, and according to my design, I just had them kind of stuck in the middle. You can arrange them however you want, but when I think of holly berries, I think of a little clump of berries, and then the leaves kind of spread out from there. If you don't really like the way the holly leaves turned out, you can adjust them however you want to. But on paper, it looked like they were going to work out pretty good, and I think they're okay because, you know, holly leaves, to get the right word here in my brain, and maybe it'll come out of my mouth, they have little prickles, the little kind of thorns on the end, so that kind of looks like that. I think we've achieved that look a little bit with the crochet, so I'm not going to worry about it. I think that it turned out okay. So the next thing we need to do is get these appliqued onto the cloth. Now, if this is a gift for someone else, what you might want to do is when you go through to the back, just kind of hide the red underneath some of these other stitches. I'm not going to worry about it because this cloth is for me. So just going to take this one that I left the tail on, and I'm going to attach it first. And I'm just going to go through the back of the cloth and come up through the top of the berry. I don't know if you can see that very well, and my battery signal is flashing to me again that it's dying. So after I do this one, I'll leave you to do the rest, but it's just basically, you're doing a little running stitch. You're just going up and down around the outside. Now some people might rather come in and then go across like this, and that's okay too. You can do it either way. I like it this way because it hides the stitches. You don't see them. Okay, so you're just going to work all the way around the edge, the outside edge of the berry until you come back to the point at which you began. Okay. And then if you have some yarn left over, you can use it to tack on another berry. Which is what I'm going to do. So I'll leave you to tack on your berries. I'm going to tack on mine, and then I'll see you again. Well, I'm finished with my cloth, and what I did then is just, as a border, I just added a simple picot stitch. Between the picots, I added a single crochet stitch, and then just did the picot stitch, single crochet, picot stitch, single crochet all the way around, and I think it turned out rather well. If you'd rather, you could do a green border. Any color is okay. You could even stick with the white, but I just thought I'd do red for that extra pop of color since it didn't have that much red in this cloth. It was just the berries. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you had a lot of fun following along with me. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I'm having a lot of fun with this project, and I hope that you are too. Don't forget to join me next time. This is cloth number 6, so we're halfway there. We have 12 cloths total up until Christmas. So don't forget to join me, and I hope that you'll like the next project. And I won't tell you what it is. I'll leave it as a surprise. Have a good day. Bye. It's kind of funny, I'll tell you another secret on myself, because I was working up here late last night trying to get that other tutorial out. I like to listen to music while I do the tutorials, so I wear a pair of headphones and I listen to music on my computer, which is right here beside me. And somehow I didn't have it plugged in, I didn't have the headphones plugged in all the way, but I didn't realize it because I still could hear the music and I thought it was coming out of the headphones. I don't know. I'm so dumb sometimes, and it didn't even occur to me that it could have been coming out of the computer. And so then when I went back to look at the clips that I made, I heard Christmas music and I'm like, what? And so then I had to take all the volume off the videos, and then I had to redo the audio by just recording my voice. So if you listen to the last video that I uploaded, the Christmas gift dishcloth, it doesn't sound the same. There's no background noise or anything because, well, there is background noise. I take that back because my kids were kind of in and out of the room. So you hear papers rustling and little kid noises and stuff. But it was kind of humorous but frustrating at the same time, because then that was more work on me. But that was really dumb that I didn't realize that there was music playing in the background. And of course I couldn't, you know, if you're on YouTube and you try to monetize, you can't do that with music in the background because obviously you don't own the rights to the music. So it was just a funny mess that I got myself into. And pick up the white, complete that stitch, and then complete the cloth to the end with 6 single crochets. 6? No, I did that row wrong.